Good evening. I hereby call to order the February 28th, 2024 meeting of the Gaithersburg Historic District Commission. For our roll call tonight, please answer present when I call your name. Community Planning Manager Greg Mann.
Present.
Deputy City Attorney Frank Johnson.
Present.
Planner Samuel Copeland.
Present.
Commissioner Mary Jo LaFrance.
Present.
Commissioner Rudy Morgan.
Present.
Commissioner Vice Chairman John Roddy.
Present.
And myself, Commissioner and Chairman Dee Mantola, says present, and we have a quorum. And so next is our preliminary statement, which is as follows. This commission is empowered to meet and act under Article 12 of the City Code of Gaithersburg. The technical qualifications of the staff of this commission and members of this commission are on file with the City of Gaithersburg, are available on request to any applicant, and are hereby made a part of the legal record of each and every application heard tonight. Each application heard tonight is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing precedent for any other application. Lastly, any member from the public who wishes to speak on one of tonight's applications will be given 3 minutes to address the HDC from the podium at the reserved time. But we ask that you refrain from speaking out from the audience and that you take any private conversations outside of the council chambers. Okay, anybody up here, do you have any conflicts of interest with anything we're going to be being reviewed tonight?
I just want to disclose that I'm part of the same historic district as our first historic area work permit.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. All right. Everybody else is good?
Yep.
All right. Next, then, we have 3 sets of minutes needing approval. The first of which is from our November 29th, 2023 meeting. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions to the minutes?
No.
All right. So I make a motion to adopt the minutes as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, so then all those in favor for approving the minutes as written, say aye. And I'll ask you then if it's nay, and then I'll ask you if you abstain. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that, and I say aye, that's 4-0, it passes. All right, next then is the minutes from our December 20th, 2023 meeting. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions to the minutes they'd like to see made?
No.
No.
No? Okay, so I make a motion to adopt the minutes as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, so then for our voting, vote aye if you want to adopt the minutes as written, nay if you don't, abstain if you wish. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and I say aye, that's 4-0, it passes. Next and last for the minutes is from January 24th, 2024. Does any commissioner have any corrections or additions to the minutes they'd like to see made to the minutes?
No.
No.
No? Okay, and so I make a motion to adopt the minutes as written. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's 4-0, it passes. Very good. Next then, we have 2 sets or 2 historic area work permits to review. The first being HIST 9741-2024, which is request to remove trees, replace entry stairs, and replace entry deck floorboards at 108 Meem Avenue in the R90 medium density residential zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. The first application is HIST-9741-2024 at 108 Meem Avenue, which is located here on the screen. This property is a contributing resource in the Chestnut Meem neighborhood. The applicant requests to reconstruct the entry stair, the front porch, and remove 3 trees. Yesterday, staff did receive correspondence about the application that has been added to the packet, and I did send you all an email as well. And here to present the application is Jorge and Daniel Melendez. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi. Alright. Yeah, so this is the property that we have at 108 Meem Avenue. So this is how it looked before. We actually expanded it a bit. This is an old picture, but right now it doesn't look like the front of the house. It looks completely different right now.
In what way?
The entry is pretty much rotten right now. It's actually kind of, whenever we want to get into the house, we have to go through the back entrance, because the front entrance, the floorboards are completely rotten, and the stairs too. So we haven't been able to get into the house using the main entrance for some time now.
Okay, thank you.
And these are the plans, and this is a sample of the new stairs that we're trying to build. This is how it's gonna look like. The floorboards and the handrail. More examples of the handrail. And everything will be done according to the city code.
Okay,
Of
thank
course.
you.
And these are the trees that we've been having trouble with. So we actually parked the cars here in this area, and during this past winter, some branches have been falling on top of the cars, and that's the main reason why we're trying to see if we can remove these trees, and we're planning on planting new trees if this request gets approved. But yeah, that's the main reason why we want to remove the trees, due to the branches. And yeah, this is another picture of the tree. This is the tallest one, and this is actually a bad weed tree that has been growing, and we need to take care of this because it's been growing sideways. And yeah, this is another tree that we wanted to request to see if we can remove it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Are you Daniel or Jorge?
I'm Daniel.
Jorge, would you like to say anything further?
Yeah, that's what the same thing.
The same
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Were you, okay.
Thank you.
Ditto that? Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. All right, next then is the public is now invited to speak. First up would be, is there anyone from the public who would like to make any comments? Please come up to the podium, and you can form a line if there's more than one person, but please come up to the podium, state your name and the district you live in.
Hi, I'm Mandy Tumulty, and I'm the resident at 110 Meem, so right next to...
Yeah, I guess so, you're sure. Frank, would you like to swear her in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was my mistake. Would you like to swear her in?
You swear, actually, if you want to hold that up, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, to the best of your knowledge and ability?
Yes,
Okay.
I swear.
Sorry for the interruption.
That's
Please
okay.
continue.
Yeah, so I'm the neighbor, so right on the side where we're seeing that picture that's up on the other side of the driveway. And so I guess I would just ask the commission to consider, and what I saw in the packet, the tone and tenor of the greenery, the landscape. What I notice now, like was mentioned, the front, and I think these have been submitted, but the front and surrounding of the home, which seems to be still in construction, is very much not looking like what I understand the guidelines to be, not the home, but I'm saying the greenery around it. As well, the driveway is extending almost all the way back on that side of the property, which used to be green and now is gravel. And we saw, I think, in that first picture. So that's concerning to me, living in a historic district. Actually being in the home of my grandparents, and we purchased it from my grandparents when they lived there since the late 50s, early 60s, I think was the time frame. And I've lived in the property since 1998. So just, when I read the guidelines, that's a concern to me. And then it also seems as though the driveway is not within the code regardless. So that would be something that I would like to hear the commission address. And then I would just also ask that in terms of the trees, whether that is decided that those are removed or not. To me, it doesn't seem like it's actually due to damage, especially the two. They look young and healthy. So though I completely understand when there are trees near homes, And in an older neighborhood where we would, all of us want to make sure that limbs are not falling on our trees, there are lots of older, more mature trees in the neighborhood that are standing. These are younger. And so if they were to be approved to be removed, then my request would be that something that is beautiful, that is green, replace it, whether it be, and be required to be replacing it. So whether it be bushes that are beautiful or some sort of tree that is a lower height, you know, a dwarf kind of thing that would be recommended. So it's, and then just in the final, I guess I would just ask that when the property is finished, that the sense be that there would be, you know, sort of beautification of the front in terms of greenery, so that it fits like states in the guidelines with the community. And it seems as though, I would assume once it's finished, that would be the intent, but right now that's definitely not what it looks like. So that's my submission.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the audience who'd like to speak on behalf of, and for or against this proposal? Okay, I see and hear no one. Okay, so next then, let's ask if there's anybody online to indicate that you want to make a comment if you are online. If you're on a computer or laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window and you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on that button and then we can call on you. If you're dialing in on a telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
We currently have nobody with their hand raised.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, next then, let's hear from the commission. But first, before we do that, I do want to ask, I guess you guys, Sam. You guys as staff can do trees. You have our authority and have had that for quite some time. How come you didn't use that authority to take the trees out of this HIST?
Yeah, I can answer that question. So when we were working with the property owners, they were talking about several improvements. They wanted to group everything just in one application for simplicity.
All right. Then my quick question before we go to the commission is there any evidence that the trees are diseased or are a hazard? Is there anything you can present to us?
So we did have someone go inspect the trees, and they didn't, really what they said was it wasn't an immediate hazard. Based on what was submitted, the applicant says that the trees are having the branches fall over, and the site plan did mention that the trees were dead.
Is there any evidence that you can give us as a documentation that we can put in the record?
That's all that we have for the documentation.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. All right. So next then, there's no one from the, remaining from the public, so let's go to the commission. Commissioner LaFrance, you're up first.
Well, I don't know if I can answer this completely, but typically the city arborist will go out, look at the property, then put that report in the record so we have that to look at. So somebody going out there isn't really sufficient for evidence for us to consider. So, and I know, Sam, thank you for filling in until we have a permanent solution, but there are some things that we want to make sure don't slip by while you're standing in for a little while. So that's something that would be important to us to have. I also want to remind everyone that for our historic district, there is a historic tree inventory, which means that on historically designated properties, if you remove 1 tree, 4 trees, you have to replace 1 tree, 4 trees. So there is that. What I know about trees is in this case, I think we have a crowding issue. So the leaning maple, I would be supportive of the removal of that because it's only going to get worse. It's fighting for the sun. I might be willing to agree to thinning, maybe 2 instead of 3. But it appears, from what we can see from the photos, there's no health risk. Then there's the matter of the tree in the front yard, which is clearly in terrible condition and should be removed because were it to fall, it could fall into the street and kill somebody. So that one actually, that's not mentioned in this application, in my opinion, is far more important. And thank you for the submission of the evidence for that. And as far as the driveway is concerned, isn't that supposed to be yet a separate hop, even though, right? Because we don't have an historic area work permit this evening to consider the driveway, isn't that right?
I don't see it
So
in
it's
there.
part
Yeah,
of
if
the
I can interject,
condition.
staff has noted that the driveway does require approval, and it's actually the condition of the approval that staff is providing tonight, that it either be removed and replaced back in kind as it originally was, or to come in with a hop.
So, excuse me, so I'm understand that we are supposed to make that decision tonight as well?
No, it's outside the scope of the applications before you. Staff has
Right.
already acknowledged that it needs a hop.
Oh, a separate hop, that's what
Yes,
I meant.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, okay, very
So
good.
we just wanted to make sure it's clear and
Yeah.
that it's being resolved, either by removing it and putting it back to what it was
Okay.
before, or to come in with for the hop
Okay.
for your review.
So that's my opinion, I think
All right, well-
I'm done when it comes to the trees. at
Okay,
least.
right, next then is entry stairs.
Well, it looks like the materials that are gonna be used for the entry stairs and for the decking are approvable.
Okay, and you hit the deck as well. Okay, so there's just those three items, is that correct? Okay, all right, so next
Oh,
then.
excuse me.
Please,
And I
go
would
ahead.
like to also add that although it is part of the guidelines, I would like to make sure, it would just make me feel more comfortable if we added a second condition, which included the replacement of whatever trees are removed. Yes.
Well, I think that's a requirement.
It is a requirement, but I think we should put it as a condition. I
Okay.
would feel more comfortable doing so.
That sounds fine, that's fine.
If that's all right.
Is that a requirement?
It's a
is.
city
Yes.
requirement.
It's not a requirement, but it can be a condition. of
Yeah,
the
It
that's
is,
why.
application.
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
for
It can be a
historic.
condition.
I
It is
always
for
understood,
historically designated homes.
I always thought that any
Yeah.
trees that come
The
down.
guidelines actually state a
Absolutely.
tree, removal of a tree may require replacement.
May, okay.
All right, well then we're putting it as a condition in
Okay, that
place.
sounds fine. Okay.
And then we have to decide on what we think is reasonable as far as what trees are removed. Okay, that's
All right.
my piece.
All right.
Thank you.
And you're done, okay, you hit your
I'm
three
done.
issues. All right, so Rudy, I guess you got trees, entry stairs, and entry deck floorboards.
I agree with Commissioner Lafrance. The trees, I think we can recommend a condition to replace the trees. My question is, did you do any investigation, hire anyone who specializes in trees to give you an analysis? To determine, you just made that judgment on your own that a tree was gonna fall in the house and,
It's just, it looks like a dead tree to me.
okay.
It looks like pretty
Where,
dead.
I would suggest, in my own capacity, I will hire somebody who specializes in trees to give an analysis before I do anything, instead of making that judgment. That would be my recommendation. The entry stairs, what material you using? Is it Trex? I've just, you,
It's PT lumber, I think.
it's PT lumber?
Pressure treated.
Okay.
It's pressure treated with.
A picture tree, okay, then you're gonna paint,
We
You-
wanna put the same
you're
pressure
gonna,
treated,
what's that again?
same thing,
You're gonna replace in con,
the
you're
same
gonna,
material.
the same material that was there before?
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
they are.
No.
Ready?
They're not, I don't think they are. I think that.
They're just
they're-
gonna leave it, pressure, you leave it?
No, from my understanding,
Uh-huh.
the existing floorboards wasn't, I don't believe, addressed in the report, but I have to believe that it's probably 3/4 inch T&G
Yeah.
painted. That's
Paint
what's
it. Yeah, but he said
standard
he's not
stuff.
gonna paint it.
But what he's saying is he's
Yeah.
replacing those with 2x4 PT lumber. There's a huge difference
Yeah.
between those two.
Yeah,
And then he's saying he's not going to paint it.
yeah, I know that, I just wanna confirm it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's for you to discuss,
Yeah.
your thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
I think I'll prefer you replacing con, and that's what the recommendation in the historic documentation wants you to do. As much as possible, as necessary, you want to replace in con.
Okay.
So that would be one thing I would,
Okay, and that's for
Actually,
the
I
entry
would
stairs
agree with
and
that.
entry
Yeah, entry,
floorboards as well, you're saying?
That's right.
You as well?
I
Yes.
agree with that as well,
Yes.
All
actually.
right.
As far as the driveway, I understand the neighbor concern, and I'll ask the question, based on your observation, are you observing that the driveway is being expanding and the green area is being replaced?
So I can jump
Yeah,
in there again.
yeah.
Yeah, the driveway has expanded without staff's or without the city's approval.
Okay.
Again, we have notified the applicant that it has to either come in with a hop retroactive for the HDC's review,
Okay.
or it has to be returned to its original state.
Yeah, so we don't
All right.
need to address it
We
tonight.
don't address, okay, all right, okay. And one condition I would recommend is to the entering area, once you're done, put more greenery in that area. Because basically it's a medium density residential area. You don't want to go from there to commercial. Because once you start having all that driveway, that hard surface, it's just going to take away from the neighborhood.
I'm
So-
not sure we can require anyone
It's
to
just a
add.
condition, yeah.
We can ask them to do
Yeah,
that, but it's
yeah.
can't, I don't think it'd be a condition. We can say to replace trees that
Yeah.
are taken down, but I don't think we can require anybody to add trees.
The landscaping, can it be part of the landscaping?
You could say you recommend,
Yeah.
but I don't believe we can require it.
It's my recommendation.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Commissioner Rowdy?
Thank you. I agree very much with both of my colleagues that preceded me. With some minor exceptions, I do agree that when we're talking about decking, replacement in kind should be encouraged to the highest possible degree possible. It's absolutely essential to the appearance of the product. With regard to the vegetation, let me ask staff, are we to anticipate someone from staff, like an arborist, to give us something more to chew on here?
Fortunately, no. I don't believe there's an arborist on staff right
We
now.
are still in I think we just hired somebody recently,
Oh.
within maybe a week or two.
Okay.
So again, we're in the process of hiring an environmental services division. Again, there was a couple holes in that.
All right, in that event, I would
Department.
strongly recommend that the
Yeah.
applicants work with staff in terms of the replacing vegetation or putting in vegetation.
So Greg, the arborist that just got hired isn't available to go and look at this?
I would have to
property?
check. Again, it's outside the Planning and Code Administration. It's actually housed in DPW.
Okay.
So then our question is, where are we with this application? But go ahead, Dean.
Well, I guess it'll be in the conditions that we'll put. And Greg just said that we can say that they work with staff. I mean, with John's suggestion, I meant to say. I
Yeah,
apologize.
if I could jump in real quick. Obviously, the commission has already delegated tree removal permits to staff to review.
Yes,
If you want to continue that delegation and just
Yes.
recommend as a condition or as part of this discussion tonight that they continue to
Yes.
work with staff on those tree removal permits, we can do that.
yes. Perfect. Okay. Anything further?
Nope.
All right, and so you hit the deck and the stairs?
Yep.
They replace in kind? Okay, all right, I'm next and last. Can you, whomever has access to the video, put up the picture of the, I guess, the front elevation proposed? Actually, do me a favor, put up the photo first of the front elevation. And can you zoom in pretty close to the front porch for me?
Yeah, let's see here. I'm gonna do it this way.
Can you go a little bit closer, because that's, yeah, just center that in, okay, because I want to be able to see the porch, not really the house. All right, so this is what we have existing, and there's several issues here that I want to note to the commission. The first is that the stairs themselves appear to have the risers painted and the treads not. I'm not sure if that's historic for this building, but it's there now, so I would say at the very least we want to require that. Painting the treads is something that I'm always sensitive of because the paint that you use in rain is slippery.
Snow,
So
yeah.
I'm not
You have to use sand
necessarily.
paint, yeah.
I'm not necessarily pushing for that, but the risers
Yeah.
and the carriage, which is on the side strongly, believe they should be painted, as well as the floorboards for the porch itself. Let's note for everybody that the two handrails that are there now, they're not, they don't meet code to begin with.
Right.
Because you can fall off the sides. So they're replacing those and putting them in the proper location. And I don't think anyone has any concern with that. But if you look at the columns themselves, they look to be piers. I'm not sure if they're truncated. They look truncated. I tried to zoom in on my own computer, and I couldn't. The closer I got zooming in, the less definition it had. But I don't know if they're truncated, but at a glance, it almost looks like they are. But
Yeah.
they're truncated. They seem to have a trim piece for a capital. They seem to have a trim piece for a base. And they're all on a masonry pier base. Now, that might be actual stone. I don't know. It might be CMU, split-faced, made
That's
look
it. I
like
think it
it.
looked at space base.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but it's
painted,
it is a wood on stone image or material, as well as there's another detail that they're trying to remove or do not want to replace is the lattice work underneath. So for me, I believe all of these things, if they're going to be replaced, I'm not saying that they are required because they're rotted out, I don't know. But I would imagine that the stone piers or the masonry piers are not rotted out. So I would believe that we want them to replace all these elements in kind.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my thought. So if we can go to the elevation drawing,
Just to again add in that it's staff's understanding as well that the piers actually are not being revised or changed as part of this
if
application.
you look at the drawing,
We understand. We had the same question for the applicant, and again, the applicant could respond to that maybe better tonight.
can we see the drawing? Put the drawing up, please. It appears that they're being changed completely and
Yeah.
almost, at least on this drawing, it looks like they're being like ephes or something.
Ephes, yeah.
So we did have the applicant add the note that the structures such as the columns and the roof were remained untouched.
Okay.
Yeah. But graphically, it's deceiving. That's that. I
Yeah,
think that's
we
what's
slide that
wrong.
over, slide it over. Look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put this in full screen.
All right, so I would say another condition is the piers to remain as is.
And Dean, thank you for bringing up the lattice. I had forgotten to put that in my notes, but yes, I believe the lattice, if it needs to
lattice,
be
yeah.
replaced, fine, but in kind.
Okay. Okay. All right, let me just see, is there anything else? All right, and that's it for me, and I guess, placement trees and work with staff. Okay, so does anybody else have any further thoughts before we go to a motion? So who is a brave soul who could put this together as a motion?
She's good at it.
All right,
Try
you're
with
gonna have a
some
hard time reading my writing, more than anything.
Oh, my God. Ladies first.
Right.
Let's see if I've got this right. See.
Sorry, quick question.
Yes,
For the material for the new deck and the entrance, can we do tracks? No, right? And why is that?
I just brought it about, I was just trying to get your concurrence, what you're using, what you're thinking, but no.
Okay.
if it's from our standpoint, or at least mine, I can't speak for everybody, but we will vote on it. If it was 2x4 or 2x6 boards
Yeah.
that you had, like on a rear deck or something, a rear patio deck, then Trex works. We've allowed that. But to remove the TNG, tongue and groove, planks that are historic, I don't think we allowed in the past, but regardless of that, for this project, and I think others, we'd like it to be replaced in kind with wood, TNG.
All right.
And painted.
But we're gonna go and we're gonna vote on every single one of these. So when you do the recommendation, we're gonna hit each one. So what you'll do is read the first part and then say, and the first condition is, and you read it, and the four
Okay.
of us will vote if that's gonna be a condition or not.
All right, so HIST 9741-2024. And then don't I start here?
Yeah.
That the
that we-
that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings and recommendations, approve HIST and 9741-2024 with
The following
the
conditions.
following
We're gonna
conditions.
take them one at a time.
Number one, replacement trees, work with staff.
I'm so sorry.
Is that what that's
That's
supposed
the
to
one
mean?
right there.
That's number one.
Oh, I'm sorry. The unpermitted gravel driveway expansion must be either restored to the previous condition, or the driveway must receive approval of a historic area work permit, number
Okay,
one.
okay, before you go on, does that, let's vote on that. Is
Yeah.
that a condition that we want to put in? Say aye if it is, nay if you don't. I'll say aye for me.
Yeah, I say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right, so that's 4-0, so that's a condition is in. The second condition,
Is replacement trees, work with staff.
work with staff. So let's
Okay.
vote on that. Say aye if you agree that that should be a condition, nay if you don't. Abstain if you wish. Aye, I say aye.
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 So that's 4-0, that condition is in. Item number 3.
Okay. So,
Piers.
yeah, so the next one is appears to remain as is.
Which includes the wood posts over masonry base. And so let's vote on that. Do we agree to that?
Aye.
Aye, I say aye.
Aye.
So that passes 4-0, that is a condition. Number 4.
Then number 4 is the lattice to be replaced in kind.
Okay, so do you guys agree with that or not? Say aye if you do. I say aye.
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 All right, aye.
You can go nay if you want.
No, I'm just pondering.
Okay, okay, so that passes 4-0, so that is a condition.
So the 5th condition is the steps replaced in kind.
To replace in kind, so is that something that you guys agree to? I believe so, I'll say
Absolutely.
aye.
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 So that passes 4-0, that's a condition.
And then number 6 is floorboards replaced in kind.
Right, and
You want to be specific, Dean, with that, or is that good enough?
I'm gonna add a 7th condition that we paint as part of the conditions, but replace in kind says it all, because
Okay, good.
it's the detail,
Right.
it's the size of the planks, width and thickness, and the finish.
Okay, so we're
So
all
then,
voting.
yeah, and then number 7 is to paint the stair risers, the stair carriage, and the floorboards, and I guess any existing woodwork that is painted and will be repainted.
So do we have all ayes for number 6?
It's number 7, so do we
Did
agree to that? It
Agreed.
should be
Agreed with
painted?
6 and 7.
I think okay, do
Yep.
we not vote on 6?
And we hadn't gotten to it
All
because I
right, let's vote
interrupted.
floorboards, replace in kind, I thought we did.
Yeah.
Aye?
Yeah.
Aye, so pass
Aye.
4-0, and 7 is to paint
Yeah.
the in kind, where there's paint on the existing conditions, it to be painted on the replacement.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
All right, so next then is, do we have that was the motion, do we
That was the
have a
motion.
second?
Yes.
All right, it's been seconded. So all those in favor of voting to pass this motion with the 7 conditions, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Any opposed? So that passes, the item passes 4-0. So thank you very much for your time. But I will tell you, you have a beautiful home. It is absolutely stunning. It really is. Beautiful piece of architecture. And so we hope when you replace it, you'll have use of those spaces. I'm just curious, it didn't come up, but are you keeping the screens or are you opening them up? I think you're taking them out.
The screens, yeah.
Well, you know what, we did not address that. Were you guys okay with them removing all the screens? We didn't really see that. Can we see the drawing?
Sure, and if I could add, I did look at the design guidelines. The design guidelines do state that porches should remain unscreened, if that impacts your decision.
I believe that the screen was probably a later addition,
Absolutely.
Okay.
even though it's uniquely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
don't have, I guess, the problem
And I
either
wouldn't
way.
use the word interesting.
All right, so you guys, I'll ask, it's okay to remove the screens?
I'd encourage it.
And
I don't have a problem
aye?
with that.
And you say aye, and I say aye as well. Okay, so then it's just the 7 conditions, okay? And we did pass it with 7 conditions, and it's been voted on, so
Good.
we're done.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, and so the next application that we have here is HIST-9745-2024. This is for 605 Steinbeck Avenue. And let me get everything here on the screen.
All right, and I'll just add to it, it's a request to replace the existing metal roof, gutters, and downspouts at 605
Yes.
Steinbeck Avenue.
Correct, yes.
In the mixed-use development zone. May we have an introduction from staff, please?
Yes, I got ahead of myself.
That's okay.
So the next application here is HIST-9745-2024 at 605 Steinbeck Avenue. The subject property is located in the Crown neighborhood. The applicant requests to replace the existing roof with an aluminum standing seam roof and a TPO membrane roof. New gutters, downspouts, and adding a collar onto an existing vent are also a part of this application. Here to present the application are the homeowners, Lisa and Charlie Scott. Welcome.
Welcome to you.
Hello.
Would you like to add anything to what Sam has relayed?
I guess a small clarification was that we're looking to replace the metal roof, and then there is a flat roof above our upstairs balcony, which is currently bituminous, which I don't know how to say that word, but we're
You don't want to
gonna-
know how to say the
Yeah,
real way.
There we go. Whatever. Which cannot be replaced with metal, but while we're doing everything else, the roofer has recommended that we replace that small piece too. So that's not, I think, officially in the title of our application, but we are looking to do that as well.
Okay, I saw photos of the rotting wood trim, the cornice and all. Is that part of this?
That's what started everything. We had squirrel infestation in our attic, and we're looking to mostly replace the wood first, and then, oh yeah, no, wait, you need to replace your roof was the recommendation, so
So
it became a
is
bigger.
that part of this?
The roof.
The
The roof
The
is.
cornice
The roof
from
is.
the
I'm
other
saying
pieces
the
are actually in
wood trim.
kind and don't require a hop.
I'm sorry?
In-kind replacements
Yeah.
don't require a hop.
Okay, okay, good. So it's an in-kind replacement then? Well, that's wonderful.
But at the same time. Yeah.
Right, oh, that's
Great.
wonderful.
Why are you doing that?
Okay,
Makes sense.
that's great. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You'll be,
And keeping out the squirrels.
yeah, get rid of those squirrels.
And
But,
rain.
And rain.
That's right, that's right.
There's more. Sure.
Ken, if you want, or not.
What's your presentation? What are you doing?
We can go through the presentation briefly if you want.
Sure, for the record, that'd be great.
Am I controlling this or you controlling this?
Control, and then that's right, and that's fine.
Okay. So again, we're familiar with our home. It's
beautiful.
In the Crown neighborhood. We've made it a little bit more our own. We've put front porch swing or rockers and stuff and enjoy watching the neighborhood, so. The application, this was the shaded part in yellow. Again, it would also include that black part that's right now the bituminous roof. The lower left of this picture is steel standing seam that was replaced, we think, by the first developer back in the 27, 8, 9, 10-ish timeframe. Though I'm not clear on the timeframe, but it's in good condition and would not be, we're not requesting to replace that. But even the roof that was added in the 2020, 2021 timeframe is not in good condition. So we currently have 6 different roof styles. So we're looking to make it a little bit more consistent. The standing seam over the mudroom is that steel area that would not be replaced, so that would remain. The modified bitumen over the upper balcony, we are proposing to switch to a TPU membrane. And then the remaining 4 would become, we're hoping to replace with the new aluminum standing seam roof. So it would be, go from 6 styles to 3, which is an improvement, I think, a little bit more cohesive. But again, the 2 that are different are kind of in the back and not super visible anyway. Again, this all started with squirrels in the attic, which was lots of fun. And then we called out a contractor who was able to get pictures on the roof, which we can't always see from street level. So there's some example photos here. So the proposal is to replace the roof, replace all the deficient metal roofing with aluminum standing seam with an 18-inch spacing. Again, that rear steel area would not be replaced. It's in good condition. And then to replace the upper level over the deck on the second floor with a TPU membrane, again, because it's too flat for a metal roof. And it's not really visible from the ground level at all anyway, so. These are examples of our contractor's work. The white TPU is in the foreground, and then standing seam. Obviously, this is not a residential structure, but it's examples of his work and the color palette we're looking at. So the existing gutters are galvanized and have many, many rust holes. So hoping to replace those with aluminum, which would not rust. So the proposal will be, again, a gray half-round gutter with a round downspout, same dimensions, attached properly, not on top of the existing roof, but underneath the roof as it's being replaced. So we don't have roof penetrations with the straps. The proposal included replacing the collar on 1, but it turns out there's actually 3 roof penetrations that would need a collar. So the upper left is actually in one of the new areas of roof from 2021, where the collar goes straight through a seam, and there is no, or the roof vent goes through a seam, but there's no collar. So double whammy there. The bottom right is also from the new area in 2021, no collar, but at least not on a seam. And this other one is right where the flat roof joins the metal roof above our balcony. The one in the back, the bottom left there, is in that back area above the mudroom that would remain. It was properly done by the contractor or the developer 10 plus years ago. And we just have additional photos if there's other questions from other vantage points. This is from the side. You can see the back right. This committee previously approved that roof to be raised in the back of the upper back bedroom. You can kind of see the slope of where the roof line used to be on the side there. And it's fairly subtle. We know it's there, but most people don't recognize it. But there is a difference in the roof from the 12-inch in the old style to the addition in the back there. It's an 18-inch standing seam separation distance. This is from the other side. Again, you can't see the black of that bitumen roof from the ground level, from the park. And then this is just right at our front sidewalk.
Well, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. We're intimately knowledgeable of your house. We've seen it. This is at least the 4th time, and every time it's a welcome change that you guys make. So it's a beautiful home, and everybody who's previously owned has done a great job. And you guys obviously are cleaning up any of the messes that they left you. So it's amazing that there's 6 different roofings on one house. That's pretty amazing. All right, so that's it. Would you like to say anything further, sir?
No, ditto.
Okay, very good. All right.
Ditto. Great.
You want to swear him for that?
All right, so now the public is invited to speak. If there's anybody present who wants to speak, please come to the podium. And I see and hear no one. All right, so now the public at home is invited to speak if you like. So to indicate that you want to make a comment, if you're on a computer or a laptop, move your mouse to the bottom center of the Zoom window, and you should see a raise hand button pop up. Click on that button, and then we can call on you. If you're dialing in on telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand.
No one has their hand raised.
Nobody? Very good. All right. Next then is from the commissioners. First up is Mary Jo LaFrance.
It was an excellent presentation, and I don't have any problem with any of the improvements or the materials recommended.
Wonderful. Commissioner Morgan?
Thanks for your presentation. You did a lot of work researching into this. Your presentation was good. There's harmony in your material with the character of your house. It's a beautiful house.
Thank you.
Everything you are proposing to install, I think is within the character of your house. I think that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Roddy?
As we've often said, the integrity of the roof is very much important to the integrity of the house itself. So on that note, I would simply say, God bless you.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
All right, I'm next and last, and I have nothing to add. Everybody already said everything that needed to be spoken about. All right, so I am open to a motion to approve or deny this application with or without amendments.
Okay, I'll go
All
ahead.
right, good, great.
Yep. Staff recommends that the Historic District Commission, based on the exhibits submitted, the applicant's testimony, and the staff report findings, and the recommendation, approve HIST 9745-2024, finding it to be in compliance with 24-227.2 of the city code.
All right, before we second it, I move to remove the first three words that says staff recommends that, and just begin the
Okay, all right.
recommendation, or
Okay.
begin the motion with the Historic District Commission. Same thing for the first
First
one,
one.
if in fact that was done, I don't recall. Anyway, does anybody have any concern with my suggestion?
No.
Everybody's okay with adopting it? Okay, so that's the motion and is without amendment, so may we have a second?
Second,
All right, very good. All right.
stole it, John.
All right, so let's do a roll call of voting. State aye if you support the motion, nay if you don't, or abstain if you wish. Commissioner LaFrance?
Aye.
All right. Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Commissioner Roddy?
Aye.
And Commissioner Ventola says aye. Passes 4-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very nice meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next then is discussion topics, which is Retool Gaithersburg, a draft zoning ordinance update. May we have introduction from staff, please?
Yes, let me get everything pulled up here. So this evening is just a brief on where we are with the Retool Gaithersburg project. I just want to go over just a few changes that are being proposed. This is a general briefing, an overview of the organizational changes, some changes to process, which I will mention, and really confirming the Commission's key purpose, which is safeguarding the heritage of the city, strengthen the local economy, and promote preservation. So just recently on Monday, there was a joint work session between the Planning Commission and the Mayor and City Council. Staff was there presenting the entire draft of the code, and overall, everyone was in support of most of the changes that were occurring. So specifically for the HDC, there are a few changes of note. The first one is the organizational changes. Currently, we have everything in one section, which is Article 12. In the new code, it will be split up. Article 9 will be talking about historic preservation, and then Article 12 is talking about the permit and review procedures. I do want to talk about the demo permits. So there is a proposed change here. The current code, as you all know, states that structures 50 years or older go before the HDC. With the new code, there are some changes. A designated historic district, historic site, or historic designation would still come here. A property that's actively being considered for historic designation would also come here. And then this is a key note here. A property that is identified in the most recently adopted version of the historic preservation element of their master plan as either a potential historic resource or a resource of note would also come here. So just to kind of put that into context, you all recently saw two demo permit applications. There was the one at the church, which is 110 South Frederick Avenue. And then there was the, I always call it just the pyramid building kind of by the MVA. So under the current or the proposed code, 110 South Frederick Avenue, if that was under the new code, that would still come before the HDC. But the building that was not in the master plan, the pyramid MVA building would not be coming before you all. The way that staff's interpreted this is that it helps expedite the review process, and really the intent is to place more importance on the master plan. So when the master plan does call out for preservation of certain historic procedures, if those are proposed for demolition, that would be coming here for your review. There are also some changes to notifications. One of the intents is to have more of an equity component. So not only are we notifying the property owners, but we'd also be notifying the occupants, so those who are living there, because they are a part of the community as well. So we want to make sure that gets changed with the code. Another thing you can see here is that we want to align the HDC notifications with other board requirements. So you can see in this chart that I made that currently with postcards, we notify 200 feet from the property 7 days prior to the meeting. Lots of sevens. 7 day prior to the meeting is notification sign, and the legal notice on the city website is 7 days prior to the meeting. What's being proposed is essentially 7 to 9 days. So 200 feet from the property, 9 days prior to the meeting, same for the notification sign and legal notice on the city's website. So that's really it. I mean, there were some previous changes that you all were a part of a few years ago. That's where most of the changes occurred. There's really not too much here. The changes of note are notification changes, changes to demo permits, as I discussed, and then there were just some little cleanups and organizational things going from one chapter to two. And then just kind of where we are and where are we going. So March 11th is the next work session. I believe that's where areas of note are going to be discussed more. And then April 15th is the joint public hearing for the changes on that. And that is it.
All right. My only thoughts on that are dealing with the calendar days or the days that you mentioned, 9 days. It would help the public if you use the term calendar days. And then it would also help the public to know what happens if it falls on, if that 9th day falls on a weekend or a holiday. You may want to define that for them. You could say, like, the judicial means that if it falls on a Sunday, you have to get it in the prior Friday. But whatever you guys decide, it would be good to give the public the information as to what you guys really require.
So it's a great comment. We actually already covered it. The code actually does include how to calculate time. It's in a different section. We didn't bring it up tonight. Obviously, the code rewrite is a lot larger than just the preservation ordinance, but it is covered under the code.
Wonderful. And what is the answer on that?
On which part of it?
If it falls on a Saturday or a
Well, it's
holiday?
9 days, so it's usually a Monday is the 9 days before a meeting where the notifications have to come out.
Right, 'cause
But if the
Monday
Monday
meeting.
is a holiday, we just do everything on the Friday before. So it's
Friday
business
before.
day.
Yeah, okay. Okay, fine by me. It's none of my
Interesting.
business, really. All right, so then, is that the end of the presentation?
Yep, that's it.
Wonderful, okay. Next then, let's hear from the commissioners, if you'd like to add anything before we adjourn. Commissioner LaFrance?
No, it sounds like everything's reasonable. I always worry about something falling through the cracks when it comes to the zoning. As they pointed out, the particular brick building that we looked at wasn't interesting. Hopefully, we don't have a situation where something is lost because it didn't fit into the master plan. But other than that, thank you, and that's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Morgan?
Nothing.
Commissioner Roddy?
Nothing.
Myself, nothing. Okay, anything from staff? Greg?
Nothing for me tonight.
Frank?
Nothing, nothing except that I will note, just for future to keep in mind, probably a presentation at some point that in completing the master's program that I did on conflict resolution and really more conflict management, one element of it was meeting processes, and we often talk about Robert's rules, and both Eric Perla, who's the assistant city attorney and myself looked at Robert's rules and realized that many times when we're speaking about commission processes and how they intersect with Robert's rules, we really didn't know what we were talking about in terms of what the rules actually provide. I've since then joined I think it's called the National Association of Parliamentarians, which sounds like a very fancy name. But the point is, in order to do that, I had to pass a basic test on basic procedures. And these are not fancy motions, but how, if there's a gap, what are the processes that can be put in place, and can certain processes be simplified? Because Robert's Rules does apply to this commission, the Planning Commission, as well as the Board of Appeals explicitly within your rules, and otherwise they're generally relied upon. Generally what you're doing is fine. In some cases you might be doing a little bit more than you need to, and we'll lay some of that out at some point. I do have a presentation ready, but there's a lot of other things going on now with rezone and all of that, and just will highlight that that'll be coming, and that's part of the guidance that we're here to do. If there is a question of, oh, how do we handle this? For example, the way you did the one motion on conditions, what I would probably end up suggesting if we were, basically what you did would simply be make a motion for approval, and then each one of the conditions could have been an amendment, and that could have been handled just about the exact way you handled it. And so just as an FYI there, in other words, no big dramatic change, but we will know we're speaking to, hey, this is what the rules actually do provide. So more to come on that, but the intent is to ensure you as the majority get to decide how you want to proceed. So if you do decide to change a rule, there's a process for doing that. There's a process for changing a special rule. And if things get disputed and complicated, we have a set of processes we can turn to, because the intent is to let you all focus on what you're here to do. So,
Well, thank you, that sounds wonderful, and I'd like to add that we used to, with an application like this evening's, push back and say, you need to take it back to the drawing board. This is not something we can approve tonight, if that's what you're looking for. And then that would make it wait another month, or
Right.
city staff would work with. So this was our compromise to try to get the motion, sorry, I'm bumping my hands. Our compromise, so that we could get the motion passed tonight versus making them wait a month. So I feel like we've improved as a board, because we're making these decisions, trying to help move things forward.
Very good.
So thank you, Frank. I'm looking forward to your
Presentation.
yeah.
And if it says part of the commission meeting, we'll try to keep it brief.
Okay.
Sam, have anything you want to add?
I have nothing this evening.
Then we are adjourned.
Yay.